everybody wants to know the trend in the industry. What's happening next? What's happening next? So let's start with Wamiwa. Yeah.
I think when it comes to the trend currently in design, trend trend is most of the time moving fast. What is happening? What is popping? The trend in design seems like the trend everywhere right now, and it's AI basically. AI in design, all about is AI taking our jobs? Is AI? Oh, okay, AI is not taking our jobs. We need to learn how to use AI. So everything right now, I think maybe she might have something else to add to it, but everything right now is all about AI in design.
Okay. So one big question. So you still have something to say?
No.
Okay, one big question for both of you. Will AI take your job? Because, I mean, I think this is almost in every area. People have been asking, even software developers, UI, UX designer, will AI take your job?
I think it's history repeating itself again.
Okay.
Google, when Google search came, when the internet came, www, they're like, this thing is doing this, is doing that. People are not going to library again. Library is this and that. Yeah. Everybody's getting what they need online. Oh, it's taking it. I think we're just having that on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks scary. I think, yes, to some extent in some fields as well. Like, it's looking like it's not just about taking jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that part of it.
Yeah.
But, as it stands now, I believe AI is not taking, what design is about. But I think it's going to be about who knows how to use AI the best, right? To make the process faster. Because now people will be demanding things that would take, for example, say I want to come up with let me use content calendar. So I want to come up, before if you wanted to come up with content calendar, you might need like longer time. Now when you have your ideas, you just have your ideas detailed, you just pass it through ChatGPT to process everything. So content calendar, then it might give you 1 week to do before. You might say, use ChatGPT, in 1 day you have to. So now you have to be able to work faster. So that will put pressure because we have something that can create it in a short period of time. Maybe it won't be very human per se, but if you know how to feed ChatGPT properly, for example, or an AI platform properly, it will be very original because it's your idea that it will work with, right? So it's about who knows how to use AI right now. I don't think it's taking. All right.
All thanks. Please give it to her. All thanks to ChatGPT. If ChatGPT have actually saved you in this room, let me see your hands. My project, ChatGPT helped me. So, but she said something striking. It's all about who knows how to use AI. So, in other words, if you can't use AI will take your job.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's hear.
That's my answer. If you're outdated, AI will take your job. You have to work with the time, work with the trends, and you have to use AI as your weapon. You have to be so good that they would want you, despite having AI at their beck and call. So everybody is integrating AI into their workflow. Product designers, software developers, everybody, even teachers are using AI. So who is not using AI? The advantage here is using AI to make yourself stand out, to make yourself different. So I know a lot of product designers that push plugins and all those stuffs. So you have to make sure you know how to use AI to make yourself stand out. You have to integrate AI into your workflow. And even when a company is saying that they can use AI and it will be cheaper, so why are you this expensive? You have to prove to them that using AI alone in their workflow is not enough. You have to know how to integrate on what has been done. The output from that AI, it can never be perfect. It always needs that human touch. So you have to reinvent it, go through it, iterate it, make it better than it is. So you have to make yourself stand out by integrating AI. Please don't fight AI. It has come to stay. So if you are thinking AI is the enemy, AI should be your friend at this point. So
Kelechi says AI has come to stay. A round of applause for Kelechi. But I have another question for you, which is because you're talking about how we need to integrate AI into our systems and how everything, and the fact that we shouldn't fight AI. AI is here to stay. So how do you adapt to the trend? Because I had the opportunity to speaking with the founder of Tentacles yesterday, and he was just telling me about how a friend of his who worked with, I think, an AI company, said they finished building something, and the next day becomes obsolete because something new. So how do you adapt to that level of change? Because why I'm asking the question is, it looks as if people who are in tech should not sleep again. I was speaking to one senior friend and he was like, he walks around the clock that he doesn't sleep. So how do you adapt to the trend that is moving so fast, even as fast as speed of light? How do you adapt to the trend?
First of all, keep yourself updated, but at the same time, don't pressurize yourself. So it's very overwhelming, the trends that come out day in, day out. You're still learning this, another is coming out, this is coming out, this is, it can be very tiring. So don't pressurize yourself. You have goals, you have a work description. I'm going to use an example now. You're just given a particular product to design, and you know what exactly is going to, what the product goes basically for that particular app. If you go online, you're going to see a lot of trends, and you should not implement everything. You cannot even implement everything. So the first thing is, pick the one that would best make your design aesthetic, but still very functional. So you want to go for something that looks good, but is usable and functional. So a lot of trends actually out there can also, can be used, but you want something that also aligns with your brand identity, aligns with your business goals, because you can be going for something that is simple, but your brand identity is saying that I want this to pop, I want it to be colorful, I want it to have gradients, all those things. So use your information and pick the trends that best align with what you want to do. So that's just basically it. Right. You can't use all the trends.
Thank you. Thank you. So now, speaking about AI, let me just ask Wamiwa, because I know that Kelechi studied mechanical engineering, right? So you could have a bit of tech background, but she didn't study any tech-related course. So is it difficult for people who do not have a tech background to learn AI? Because I think there's a phobia with people that didn't start out and like anything tech that like is not for me, is this hard mathematics thing. So how do you integrate yourself into the system like that? Yeah.
Okay, so I used to think that too, that tech is all, because I don't like maths. It's not my friend. So, but then when it comes to AI, I think, so for AI, it's all about, to use AI to get your job done, it's all about learning how to use prompts. I think prompts, just understanding how to use prompts. And there are very short courses online or on YouTube. You can have like 30 minutes where they teach you how to ask questions. We can ask AI, we can have the intention to ask AI, maybe ChatGPT, for example. No matter how premium it is, the premium of the premium, if we ask it the same question, it will give us, like the way we ask, the level at which you ask. You see somebody asking one question with 3 paragraphs. I see somebody asking one question with 1 line. It will give them different responses. So I think this is about taking, there's a lot of courses. You have access to courses to just, cover up some skills that you need when it comes to AI. So it's just as simple as getting yourself up to date on how to use AI, or maybe the latest. It could be maybe tomorrow they can bring out another platform that has another way of prompt engineering. It's all about being ready to learn, being ready to catch up. Like she said, always. What was the word now? Make sure you're up to date, right? So you're up to date, and to stay up to date, you might need to follow some particular people on social media, newsletters, and all, to see what's going on, what's the latest thing in tech and all, and see how you can catch up. Usually, it's not that complicated. It just seems complicated from outside until you get inside. So
thank you. Yes. Usually, it's not complicated. So I think the bottom line is always be ready to learn.
Yes,
it's not complicated. Yeah. So I want to hold you to your word, because it looks as if people are dancing about this AI thing. So what do you think about the role of AI in product design? In one word, is it a threat or an opportunity? Let me hear you. Threat or opportunity?
It's an opportunity.
What about you?
It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. Sorry, I wanted to add, so when she said prompt engineering, something just came to my head because I also wanted to mention it. As much as AI is threatening a lot of jobs, it's also about finding the opportunities in AI, because I went for a conference and they listed out a lot of opportunities, job opportunities that are attached to AI. So prompt engineering is part of it. So it's not something that is so complex or something you have to leave your software development or your tech track to start doing. It's something you can pick up along the way and add to your CV. You're taking up courses in prompt engineering. You're showing companies that you know how to use their AI tools. You know how to use other AI tools very well. You know how to give the right prompts. You know how to generate responses using the right prompt. So basically, adding prompt engineering to your CV is a plus. So it is definitely an opportunity.
Okay. So Kelechi, real life example, because I've seen your designs. I had to go online and check, and they are really beautiful. So I think maybe a product designer is listening. What AI tool would you recommend, or what are your go-to tools or technologies that you use often, that you can recommend to people in the house?
All right. So firstly, it depends on what I'm doing. My AI tools for content still remains ChatGPT, using the right prompts. Whenever I'm generating a case study, you give ChatGPT the direction on what to give you for content. Then for design, basically, I'll say I make use of a lot of plugins that I don't have by head. A lot of plugins depending on what I want to do. So for grids, for colors, for illustrations, for pictures, for removing background, for enhancing the text, there are a lot of plugins to use. So I wish I came prepared. I would have listed out the ones I know I use. So it's more about testing. So go online, search a lot of AI tools or plugins for Figma or whatever design software you're using. Play around with it. You have to find what works best for what you want to achieve. So that's just how I choose my plugins. It's not like I have a particular plugin. I go online, search plugin for removing background. Before, Remove BG used to be the best, but I think there are others that are better right now. In fact, I even use FreePic, though I'm using a premium FreePic account. So with FreePic, you can remove the background, and it still keeps the quality of your images. So just research. You'll find things that work for you best. That's just
all right.
it.
Thank you so much, Kelechi. Let's list and have Wamiwa. So Wamiwa, have you ever, quick one, have you ever worked on a design that failed? Have you ever worked in a design that failed?
That failed.
Yeah. And what, if yes, probably you're a very good person like that. But if yes, what were the experiences? What did you learn from that failure? Firstly, have you ever worked on a design that failed?
Okay, so I have not worked on a design that was pushed, that went live and failed.
Okay.
But I have.
A round of applause for her. I mean, it's so much. It's so much. All right.
But I've been in situations where you work on a design, say a new feature, and then you have put in the everything. And you get to, the finals, and then, stakeholders or partners are like, we're not going on with that idea anymore. And you're like...
Have you ever worked on a design that failed?
Okay, I wanted to ask you what exactly you mean by failed.
Okay, for example, at the beginning of our conversation, we said, what is a good design?
Okay.
So in other words, have you ever worked on a bad design?
Okay, so I designed a lot of terrible things.
Oh, shout out.
Yes, right. And the funny thing is, when I designed those things, it was splendid in my eyes. It was looking perfect. So, but when I send it out to a lot of people and they're like giving me, should I say, nice criticisms, but underneath it, I'm checking, I'm like, you just criticized everything I did. So what exactly was good? That's how I knew that, okay, this was actually terrible. And then me going back to some of my previous designs, I'm like, ew, how did I design this? So, but I don't think I've designed a product that failed. However, I've designed an app that was pushed to live, but it didn't get a lot of downloads, so I would say that failed because we ended up scrapping that app. So yes, that's it.
Well, I don't do designs, but I see some guys, they post it when they're starting out, like they posted a design, and because I'm a creative, I see the design, I'm like, this color is not making sense, but I would just quietly not say anything, and then they are so happy, and I understand that they are starting out. So what advice can you give someone who is starting out now in, let's say, product design, and regardless of age, maybe as a teenager, because Tentacles, what we do in Tentacles is that we groom young people. So what advice can you give to even teenagers, adults? Can they start now for adults who think, I'm already old, life is now, but what advice can you give to anyone starting out here?
Like, why exactly are you starting product design? Because it's easy to start it, stop, and move to software development, start it, stop. You just start moving helter-skelter without any direction. So get your motivation right. Know your reason. What is your why for starting product design? Why do you want to venture into product design? And age is not a reason. It shouldn't stop anybody from achieving their goals. I mean, any goals, whether it's starting a course, whether it's becoming a president or doing anything, age is not a determinant for success. So you can start whatever you want to do at any age, whatever you want to, as long as you have your motivation right, because that is what is going to keep you going. When gigs don't come, when you're tired, when you're about to give up, it is your why that will remind you exactly why you should continue pushing. So if you have like a genuine love for product design, you love what you see, you love the designs out there, it will continue pushing you to just reach that peak, to be better at what you do. So that's my number one reason, my number one advice. So get your motivation right, and then be consistent. Try as much as possible to be consistent. Even when situations make you want to give up, you have to be consistent, because see, product design it may look like it's simple, but if you leave Figma for long, Figma themselves, they are updating every time. You see Figma giving out updates every single time, and then when you now leave it for long, you come back and you see the interface has changed. You're like, what happened? So you have to be consistent. You have to continue giving yourselves reasons to design. Go out there, search on a lot of designs, replicate them, make sure you're giving yourself like a calendar. Okay, today I'm going to do this, today I'm going to do this, tomorrow I'm going to do this. Continue making sure that you're doing something. You're not being dormant, you're not being static. That's the only way you can improve. Even as designers currently, we cannot just say because we've designed this, we are the best at what we do. We also see that there's a lot of updates, so we have to be consistent at doing what we are doing. Continue doing what we are doing so we can be the best at what we do.
To Ms. Wamiwa, yes, so my question now is, we talked about collaborating with the developers and the stakeholders, but let's take it outside to collaborating with other product designers, especially in this time and age where we've talked about AI and how you can learn anything online. What is the role of a mentor or networking in this space? Is it necessary? Do you advise that we really network with other people? Because especially starting out, it can be the place whereby this guy is also good. So what do you think about networking and getting a mentor to lead you? Can you just do it on your own?
It's not advisable to do it on your own. Okay. If you do it on your own, there's a high chance that you get tired along the way, or you just just give up along the way. So, and of course, I've seen some people that did it alone. Yeah. They're a rare breed. They're not
not the regular, the outliers.
They have fights inside of them. Yes. Yeah. But if you know yourself, like, it's important for you to find somebody that can hold your hand through the process. Not necessarily like they are teaching you design. No, you're doing your stuff, but then you have somebody checking up and say, oh, what's the progress so far? Or let me see your latest design, or let me see this. Networking is very important. Having a mentor is extremely important. Yeah. Now, here's why. I'm going to mention one of the reasons why. In the industry now, most of the opportunities there are based on networking, are based on knowing somebody. So your skill is good, right? You can be good. You see some, I don't know if you've seen some people that they are doing something that you can do better than them, but they're earning more. And you're like, it doesn't add up. If you give, I will do this thing better, right? So it's about who they networked with to get to that space. Your skill is good, but networking is amazing. I'm going to use myself as an example. So where I interned, I was an intern with Yoma first, right? So Yoma had as a tech partner separately. So I was an intern with them, and they develop heavy, majorly developers, right? So they're like, oh, there's no space here anymore. Like after your internship here is done, you know. But the only designer that works there, the only designer that was there, my direct manager, was the one that pitched me to. She didn't tell me. She pitched me to, like, okay, so Yoma was going to create an headquarter. You know, they were going to put together like a full team, and they needed designers and all. So she went over there. She pitched me to them. She said, oh, this person worked on the Yoma project with me, right? So it would be best to bring this person on board. I didn't know. I just got onboarding mails. I did not interview. I did not do anything, right? Wow. That is what networking can do. Now, I know some of us, like introverts like me, because I'm an introvert, right?
Really? Do you believe she's an introvert?
No. Okay, I think
those people that always hide under.
No.
Right.
See, when you realize that this is an extrovert world, an extrovert runs things, you must learn to disguise, right? So yes, you must learn to disguise.
Take note of that. So let me just quickly come in. Because for example, a lot of introverts say they don't like going out there, they don't like making content. She just said something. This is an extrovert world. Let's take the meaning to yourself, but I would just say that don't hide your possibilities, don't hide your talent. Push it out there. Nobody is coming to your room to look for you, except you're so good. So, yes.
Yes, and on that, usually it's not about what you can do, it's about who knows that you can do what you can do. So that's it, basically.
Yeah, who knows what
networking is extremely important. And I think there's this fear, like me, for example, when I started hearing about networking, I'm like, so like that now I have to know like 1,000 people. How will I don't like all of this. So I think it's about the people you know, knowing them well, right? And not just knowing them, let them know what you do.
Okay.
You're not necessarily, there's this mistake we make when it comes to networking. You think you're networking because you DM people like, I need a job. You say that's networking. No, like you have to be a useful person, like a useful contact, or a useful, maybe if they put out something, they post something, they share something, you help them repost, you help them share, you prove yourself useful as well to them, right? So, and then you make sure that you're putting your work out there. Oh, I'm a UI UX designer, or maybe you put it on your profile, or you just randomly post something you do on your status or on your, reflexly, when somebody asks somebody else, oh, I'm looking for a designer, blah, blah, I'm like, okay, I don't know. Oh, I remember one guy, he posted one work somewhere. So I think maybe let's reach out to that guy. So that way you're putting yourself out there and you're networking without necessarily standing in people's faces like that.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for Wamiwa. If you look at Nigerian system and Nigerian government, you will know why networking is important. For example, I will not mention the person. A lawyer was the minister of power in Nigeria. I will not say anything. So network, and I think this is the bedrock, because this is brought together by Tentacles team. I think this is the bedrock of everything. The founder was sharing with me, and he said he wished what he knows now, he knew them way back. So what he wants to do is to pick people and groom them. So they say experience is the best teacher. I say another person's experience is the best teacher. So the whole idea of mentorship is that you have somebody who would walk you through their own experiences and say, don't avoid this pitfall and this and all of those things. Yeah, and networking, I think you can even start with this place, meeting Kelechi, she's a designer, meeting people around. I think let's just take the last question before we go into question and answer session very briefly. Let me give it to her. What's your ultimate goal as a product designer?
Wow. Seems like you backed me up.
Oh yeah, sorry, anyhow.
All right. So I'll just list my goals out. I don't know whether I have like an ultimate goal. Okay. So firstly, one of my big dreams is to further my studies, like have a master's in integrated media and design. Then I'd say one of my other goals is to have a design agency, a big design agency that grooms people, teaches them, as well as also gets clients to make impact basically with the designs we do. I won't mind working for the big companies up there like Meta, Google, all those things. But I guess at a point I would leave to start up my own thing. So those are my ultimate goals.
All right, thank you so much. And we've had an amazing time with the two speakers. A round of applause for our speakers. They've done amazingly well.
Right, so for the developer, it might be hard, but for the user, it is the best. When do you push back and tell the developer to go and learn work, or how does that, or when should that conversation happen, and how should it happen? So that's my first question. My second question is about user feedback, right? Because I understand the concept of user feedback, but I don't always agree with it when it comes to building revolutionary products. So say, for instance, now, there was a famous interview that Steve Jobs did that they asked him how many customers did he interview before designing Apple, and he said he didn't interview anybody. That if he had interviewed people, they will only tell him what they know based on their experience, but he was building something that they had not seen before. So he said if Ford asked people what they wanted, they would say a faster horse. Meanwhile, he was building a car. But people cannot imagine a car yet, so they can't see that. So my question is, when do you reject customer feedback and just say, this is what I think it should look like, and the customers will catch up?
Okay, so developer skill is very, very important. So first of all, this is an advice to companies, whatever. Let the developer skill always outstand the designer skill, because you do not want to get a developer that is not matching, that is not on par with like your designer. It will kill the entire implementation of your products. So, but for when you should push back, you should always push back, because one thing I've learned with working with developers is, I'm not shading developers basically, but I'm saying sometimes developers like to be pushed. They'll always want to go the easy route. They do not want to implement animations that are too big, too stressful. So you would always push. As a designer, in fact, there's always this designer-developer conflict. It always goes on. But one thing is, first of all, having a good relationship with your developer matters, because when you want to say, oh my guy, you must do this thing, or you're not saying it in an insultive or rude way. You have an established relationship with the developer, so definitely it can work. So I would say always push, as long as you believe that that is the best experience for the user. And like I said earlier, you can pitch it to the stakeholders and show them why exactly you feel that that is the best decision. So once the company is already aligned with your goals, definitely you don't even need to start talking. They would want the developer to actually implement that thing. So just be sure that you can back it up with reasons. You can show them why exactly this is the best experience for the users, and you can also sell, like you can also make sure the company sells into that goal. When you do that, I'm sure the developer would not want to lose his job. He definitely will go out of his way to learn how to implement that. So
the next question, when you ask for users,
okay, so I think what was answered.
She already answered, the first question. So for that one, I think when it comes to user feedback, the users are not telling you what to create necessarily. They are only pointing you to, you are going to use that to identify their pain points. They are only pointing you to, for example, the example you gave about, say, Ford, if he asks, like, what do you need? You say, oh, maybe a faster horse, right? But the thing is, they needed something fast to move from one place to another. So whether he was going to get them a faster horse or create a car, the pain point remains. They just needed to move, right? But I think when it comes to user feedback, one thing from my own experience, one thing we usually do is we have everything listed and analyzed. There are some things that don't make sense. We have to put, of course, sense has to be on board at the same time. So we will look at it, analyze it. Is this feasible? We ask ourselves, is this feasible? Yes, they've mentioned this, but is it worth it? Is it helping anything at this point? And I've seen really, really funny feedback. Really, really funny feedback. So for the company that I work with, so Yoma is Youth Agency Marketplace. So they have a platform where youth can learn and, earn at the same time. So they have audience in Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya. So when we do user testing, there's people doing that all over there. Kenya, Nigeria, here in Nigeria, and then South Africa. And then usually we've had meetings where we put the responses from user testing side by side, and they are completely different things. Like, I don't know, maybe that's sometimes cultural factor, right? Sometimes like it's just human issues. So we might just, at the end of the day, we might have feedback like 21 different types of feedback, and we'll just see 2 or 3 reasonable to work with. And at the end of the day, we find out that it covers what everybody else is saying and works for everybody else. So I think, yes, as you're listening to your users, you have to also, like, you know, does this make sense, right? So.
All right, thank you so much.
Beautiful point she said, something that is recurring. If 50% of your users are telling you that this button is not functioning as it should be, then you should definitely look into that button. You should definitely look into the feedback that they have given you, because it means that it is a pain point and you should fix it. So you have to look at something that is at the top of your scale of preference, aligns with the company goals, align with, because you're the product designer, but they paid you to do something.
Yeah.
So you do not want to start brainstorming new ideas without running it through the people that paid you, with the stakeholders. So you have to run it through them. You have to run it, the feedback and the improvements that you want to make through them. Once they vet it, once they respond positively, that's when you can start making those changes. So each of all these steps are very important. As long as you are not the owner of the product, you do not get to make major decisions or changes without running it through the company or the individual that paid you to do so. So you have to run it through. If by any chance you see that there is a particular improvement or change that they are not keen on, you have to pitch it to them. If you feel that that is the best decision that would make the user experience better, you have to pitch it to them, show them why exactly that improvement is necessary. You have to make them see that their user should be at the forefront. Even though business, marketing and all is part of it, but the users are still the most important thing when designing a product. So showing your investors, showing the company you're working with or the individual you're working with that the user matters is very important when you want to make those changes. So,
my name is Babatunde. So the question I want to ask, although I'm not in the design space, I'm a data scientist. What is the difference between the UI UX designer and the product manager? Do they do the same thing? Product management, is it not the same thing?
Okay. It's asking product management and UI.
Okay, they are different things, right?
Okay, so your question is UI UX, product manager, product designer.
Yes, can we have them all in the same team? And how do they collaborate?
So for the differences, first of all, they can work in a team. In fact, you can see a team of 2 UI UX designers, 2 product designers, 2 product managers, depending on the structure of the company. So for a product manager, I'll start with that. A product manager oversees the products from start to launch. So they are in charge of ensuring that everybody in the team does what they are assigned to do. They are delivering their tasks. So a product manager is in charge of the product designer, the UI UX designer, the software developer. He keeps up with the person. He's just like the boss in charge. Like, did you do your work? Yes, I did my work. Then also, they also bring out new versions or new updates. Sometimes they brainstorm new updates that can be made on a product. So that's basically the jurisdiction of the product manager. Then for the product designer and a UI UX designer, I'll be plain with you. Most times it's just like a term, especially in Nigeria, it's just like the business term you decide to go with, because you find yourself doing what a product designer should do when you yourself, you are a UI UX designer. UI UX designer is user interface, user experience designer. They are the ones that design, they are more concerned with the interface and building the products per se. So if I come in as a UI UX designer, I may be given like the design brief. This is what we want to achieve. This is what we want. This is the functionality. These are the features. So my own is I design it. I ensure that the design is good, the experience is perfect, and that's just it. Well, most times for product designer, they are more like concerned with the overall product of with the overall product details. They vet most of the features, the functionalities. In fact, they also bring in the features and functionalities that could work better. So they are also involved with I would say like the wholesome building of the products from start to finish as well. They work closely with the product manager, also trying to let them know what is feasible, what is not feasible, the design, the experience. They do the same thing with the UI UX designer, but sometimes they have like more added job description that comes with it, because you're not just looking at the web, you're looking at the product itself. Like, is this good? What can be better? Things like that. So,
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So can you take us a bit into the future? Because currently we live in a space where it's not really stable, because things change every second. So how can you position yourself right for the future so you don't become obsolete? Because I believe people will become obsolete and people who don't prepare for the future, not people who don't stand now. So can you give us, from your perspective, a view into the future and how you can position properly now, so when the future comes, you are not having to play the catch-up game? Can we talk more, a little bit on the dangers AI has caused and how to curb it in our industry?
It's a very important question, because the future is coming at us really fast, like extremely fast. So personally, what I do is that I try to put myself where people are talking. So, for example, on LinkedIn, I follow thought leaders in the field. So usually things can fly over your head without you knowing. Then you see somebody you're following, a product designer you're following, saying something like, so they are doing this one too, right? So most of the time, I follow these people to stay ahead of what is going on as it's happening and all. And one other thing I do, like generally with my work, is I try to look for platforms where for courses, for example, say, there are some short courses that just catch you up on some things. Yeah. I use LinkedIn, for example. So there are some times where I don't like to be caught off guard. If they are discussing something, I don't know what's going on. I know there's a course somewhere about it. So I just catch up really fast. Sometimes no more than 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be like 5 hours courses. Just catch up on this term. Oh, they are saying this one. What's it? So catch up on that. And also keeping yourself in communities. Yeah. Like, yes, keeping yourself in communities. Usually one person can know what's up, and other people don't know what's up, and he's the one that's going to catch everybody up. Oh, here's the latest thing right now, here's what's going on right now. So yes, that's how I would handle that.
So for me, I feel like design is going to a place where we're not just looking at our phones again for design. It's almost like you are integrating design into things, in fact, design of like a big screen. Now you can see some people also do POS designs, like design of what is going to be displayed on the POS, design of things in screens that we never thought possible, in places we never thought possible. So that's how design is going big. So that's just my own take basically on the design stuff. Then for the AI making people half-baked, it's true. It is something we worry about basically, and I would say that's for people that are lazy, people that are leaning 100% on AI for results. So to curb that, you have to ensure that your output is not 100% AI. In fact, when you're submitting your essay, they will say check for AI, check for plagiarism. So you should be that check. You should be the AI to your output. You should make sure that you are not giving an output that is 100% AI. Like I said, even when they tell you they can get AI for the same skills or result that you have to show them that you can give something that is much more better than what AI is giving. You can look into the results that AI has given. point out faults, point out places for iterations, and make it better. So you have to be up and doing. You have to make sure that AI is not your only go-to source. You are making sure you are reading newsletters, you are taking up courses, you are following people, you are keeping yourself in check, and you are becoming a better designer with or without AI. So that's just it.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for them. I think, was it worth our time? I hope we've been able to learn a lot of things from them. So thank you so much, Kelechi and Wamiwa. Like they said, networking. So my name is Testimony. I'm a DevOps engineer. Good to see you guys. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.